Is this your first TikTok interview?
First, yes. I'm not big on TikTok. I think I had like 6 videos from 2021 and that's it.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you're here.
Thank you.
Oh, let's get started with you. I'm so excited and so thankful that you're here. So when all of this started, I have to know, what was your initial reaction when you found out that you were going to be selected for this high profile case? Did you realize it was a high profile case?
No, the judge said when we were on the poll, like she told everybody there was a high profile case. And then she asked the questions if anyone knew the case, know someone involved and everything. But I just heard, I had knowledge of her name because I saw in some billboards, but I didn't know how big it was. And up to now, I'm still grasping the idea of this huge movement around the case and everything. I wasn't aware of any of this.
Wow. So when was it that you realized this was like more than what you thought?
When I heard the screams outside the day of the verdict, because before that, like I heard there was people outside, because you guys have to understand one thing, like we are not required to not know everything about the case. Like it's not like we're going to get there and never heard about anything. Yeah. Me personally, I just heard her name. I just read her name in the billboard. That was it. But other people knew there was a trial before, other jurors. There was a trial before, it was a hung trial and everything. And there was this pink shirt against blue shirt and all this movement. So I'm the clueless over there, but other people knew. So mid-trial, I learned about the pink shirt and I love pink. And I was wearing pink like every other day and I didn't know. Mid-trial, someone, oh, you saw pink shirts outside? And I was like, what pink has to do with the case? And then, no, pink is the color of Karen Reed. Okay, great. I didn't know that, but other people knew. Doesn't mean they knew details of the case. They knew like information about the first trial. They didn't watch the first trial, of course, otherwise they wouldn't be juror, but they knew the movement around. I didn't. And so when I heard the crowd outside celebrating the verdict, I was like, wow, there's a lot of people outside. I was like expecting, 5 people in pink t-shirts waiting for her to come out. Not that big.
Thousands. So while we're actually on that part of the conversation, I was actually there. I was one of the people screaming in the crowd. I couldn't believe it. I had followed this case forever, both trials, but being there were thousands of people. So when did they let you guys out of the courtroom then after the verdict? Did you guys have to wait a long time or were you kind of scooted out pretty immediately?
No, we used to come in and out from the back of the courtroom, so we wouldn't see what was going on in front of the courtroom. However, like when the bus was driving through, I could see through the parallel streets that there was some movement. So when I mentioned in other interviews, I saw a pink shirt here and there. Yeah. It was like on those parallel streets. It wasn't like a big crowd in front of the courtroom. I noticed there was some, maybe the streets were closed and maybe some people who live in the area were allowed to be in the street, so they saw us. But other than that, there was police everywhere. Nobody saw us. They really took care of our security the whole time.
Wow. That is unbelievable because from our perspective, it was like, holy cow. There was that, I think like the day of the verdict came in, there had to have been more than 2,000 to 3,000 people there. And the helicopters, we were like, this is something I've never seen before.
We heard the helicopter. That's something we could hear from outside, but close to the end, they put a paper on the window, so we couldn't even look outside.
Wow.
But we could hear the helicopter. One of the jurors noticed, guys,
wait,
I don't know.
So they put papers on the windows?
Yeah, not papers, like a stick, something to cover the window. Like
gotcha.
I don't know the name. Like
yeah,
a no, or something, so we couldn't see outside.
Wow. Okay.
They put this like towards the end of the trial, maybe a week before the verdict or something. But the helicopter, we could hear it, but not the crowd. We are way in the back, not the crowd.
Wow.
Good for her.
So I'm going to start kind of from the beginning with you. So on Tuesday, April 22nd, right? I want to know, you get on the bus, right? You all file into this bus. What is going through your brain at this point? Were you like nervous? Were you excited, scared? Like what's going through your brain on the drive on the bus to the courthouse?
All of the above, because it was like, wow, I buzz for ourselves and police is stopping the traffic. We feel so important. We all make jokes about that. Like if you were driving on the street and wondering what was like gave it a feeling of this is a big danger or something because we have all this police around. That's a big deal because we had one juror room and in front of us there was another one. And that people, they would get there by themselves. It wasn't the same commotion around them. The other cases that were going on in court. The buzz and the security was for us only, not for other jurors. The other jurors had low profile cases, I would say. And they would be there for 1-2 days and leave.
Interesting.
So I wonder, like, am I in trouble or something? But then you can't go on the internet. You can't ask anyone. I was excited, but at the same time wondering, wow, is that all necessary?
Yes, for just you guys. So that must have been insane for you to realize, like, oh gosh, what's going on with all these other people? They're going in and out. Why can't we? How did they even explain that to you then with the bus situation? So did they tell you that like in jury selection, or were you guys notified more towards like right before opening statements?
Right before they give us an address or where we should meet them. And then the bus, I don't remember if it was on the bus or over the phone. They said, this is a high profile case. So we want to keep you guys secure. Nobody can see your face. So this is the most important thing for us. So we're going to meet in this place. You're not going to the courthouse. And there is a bus waiting for you. And you go there. For example, our lunch papers, we put our lunch every day. And at the beginning, we put our names for lunch.
Oh
and
gosh.
Then they told us, no, just put the number because this paper is going outside to get the lunch for you guys. So we start putting just our numbers. So yeah, they were very worried about security.
You're gonna laugh. One of my questions, we would do a TikTok live here almost every single night when someone was testifying throughout the entire trial. And I would always say, God, we called her BBB, Bev, because we thought she was very biased. So I nicknamed her BBB and I said, she gets so excited for lunch every single day. What are they feeding them? What are you guys having for lunch that she is so excited about? Because she would like look to the corner and I don't even know if his name was Jimmy or something, but she'd be like, lunch is here. We've got to go. And I was like, are they giving them really good stuff? What is happening? No?
They gave me 12 pounds. That's what they gave me.
Oh,
so the lunch was only, they have a selection of sandwiches and a selection of salad. The salad, we say like the salad has a sad look. So I eat sometimes the salad, but other times we just try to eat half of the sandwich or something. And it was just it. I think Judge Beverly, she has, there was too many sidebars and she was concerned or conscious about this being something that would bother us or raise questions to us. And then she would take the lunch breaks to go talk to the lawyers and have like, we would go for lunch, but then she would stay and maybe have an extra sidebar, a longer sidebar with the lawyer. So this time we are out, she would take advantage to solve other things that we couldn't be present. I think maybe that's why she was excited. She felt genuinely worried or concerned about us with all the sidebars and our time being used properly.
Yes. That's crazy. That is so funny because literally the topic of our conversation almost every single night, I was like, guys, I hope they're not feeding them the same thing for lunch every day because she gets so excited, but you guys are there for so long. That's so disappointing for you. I'm so sad.
We did have Friday pizza. So
Friday was a special.
It was like school lunch. My kids have lunch in school, pizza, and we do too. Sweet.
Oh my gosh, this is hysterical. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that is so funny.
That is so funny. The theory of lunch is solved, Sunglasses crew. You heard it here first. So funny.
Not that good. I'm going to advocate for better lunch for jurors. We stay there for too long.
Oh, that is so funny.
Oh, I love it. So tell me, what was it like? The secrecy of being a juror. What was that like for you?
Hardest part for me, like imagine I'm a Latina. I talk like this. I talk all the time. I'm emotional. I make faces. It's part of me, my culture, and was really really like difficult for me. Even like during our time in court, something really incredible happened or caught my attention. I just want to look to the lady next to me and it's like, God, did you see that? And we can't. And at mid-trial, the judge called us one by one, remind us that we couldn't talk inside the juror room about anything if we were feeling. I don't know why she did that meeting, but it was one day that she called one by one to sidebar to ask if you were influenced by someone or something, if we are talking about something, and we weren't. Nothing happened.
Oh, yes. So I was actually going to ask you about that. So it's funny you brought that up because did you guys think, like, I'm going to let you elaborate on this completely. Did you guys think you were going to be kicked off the jury? Like, was anyone nervous about this?
I thought, like, what have I done wrong? Because prior that meeting, sidebar meeting, the day prior, so juror 9, 10, and 11, and me and the two on my right, we had a laughing moment, but has nothing to do with the trial. We said something. Has to do with the trial. Mr. Jackson said, ask Buchanan to read the text messages. And the Buchanan expression was something like, do you want me to read all this? And then he said, yes. And the judge, you want him to read all this? And that moment made us laugh because it was like a stack of paper like this. And we're like, oh my God, we're going to be here forever. Listen to those text messages. We didn't know what to expect. And the lady next to me, she was like easily laughing. And then she couldn't stop laughing. I laughed too. And the person next to her laughed too. And it was the three of us. Next day, we are called to this meeting. I was like, it's over. I'm out. The three of us are out.
You're like, you guys are done.
Yeah, we shouldn't laugh because she had a hard time to control and she's like starting getting red and everything. And then I would laugh more, but it was just between the three of us. It was like genuine. We are humans after all. We
Yes,
control
it makes
everything.
you human. You have emotions.
Yes. And but after that meeting, she asked if we have any bios, any information, if we're talking about anything. I said no. I guess other people said no because nobody was kicked out. And then I just tried to control my expressions. It was really hard not to talk about it. You want to comment. You want to ask. I want to ask the lawyers. I want to point out the lawyers sometimes. Hey, you said this word wrong. Come back here.
Yes.
You want to raise your hand like in school and mention. So for me, it was very difficult to keep a secret. Of course, everybody in my house knew I was a juror of a Karen Reed case, and my neighbors knew too. Not because I come home saying, it's because, hey guys, I got home after the jury poll. I'm going to be away. We need to organize our lives. I'm going to be away for the next 6 weeks. I take my kids to the bus stop every morning, and my neighbors stop seeing me. And then my uncle will start taking my kids. Anyways, a juror, 6 weeks around the neighborhood. Okay, must be Karen Reed. It wasn't that difficult. So of course everybody knew.
Yes. Yeah.
And everybody was really careful to not watch news, not watching. My family watched the documentary as soon as I start the trial. And then when I show up, and they took it off, and everybody very careful, but everybody knew I wasn't a Karen Reed juror, of course.
Yes, I was actually going to ask you that. So did your kids understand, like, especially your oldest must have understood, like, mom is a juror, but did your oldest have any idea, like, what this case was, or just like no. Just like, it's a jury,
No
I'm on
idea.
case, that's it?
He's extremely curious, but for some reason he had no curious about that. He likes
Thank
to watch
goodness,
crime.
because the school moms, Paula, sometimes
Yeah.
the school moms are gossipy, and that's all I could think of, because in our town they would be like, Lindsay's a juror, or oh my gosh, is she on the case? You must have been paranoid a little bit, like, who knows if I'm on there, like, are they talking about me?
No, I told them I have to go. I told them what a jury is, and I had to go help the judge every day. So that's, and they felt like, oh, you have a job now. And they know I was an attorney in Brazil before. So they were like, oh, you're an attorney again. I said, no, guys, I'm helping the judge, a specific case. My oldest one understood, but he wasn't very curious. He likes crime. Like when he sees me listening to podcasts on true crime, Brazilian cases, which I love and I always did, he would ask me, what happened there? So why is this guy? It's like, get off here. You can't watch this with me. You don't look at it. But he was very curious about the crimes I used to listen, but he didn't ask much questions about this. I told them it was extremely, we can't say anything. We can't talk about it. I just have to go help the judge, and one day it's going to be over and everything's going to go back to normal. And they were fine. They were just missing me. Like, you have juror again, things like that.
Yes.
But they were okay.
Yes. That's what I was going to ask you next. So what was this, obviously as a mom, I know for myself with 3, like you have a routine with your kids, you stick to that routine. You're kind of, really it's the end of the school year for your children. What was that like for you balancing being a mom, but a juror full time? So like your whole life got kind of twisted upside down. How did you make all that work?
I have family, extended family who helped me a lot. My husband has a different schedule. He could like help too. I told all of them before. I mean, I was selected and I got home and we need to sit down and have a plan of how everything will work. I first said 6 weeks, but I think it was beyond that. So they helped me, and it wasn't that hard to manage everything because the 3 olders were in school. I just had someone to watch my little one. And then there was a certain point where my aunt and my uncle, they had a trip scheduled for to Greece, to Europe, and was their vacations. They're not going to stop their vacation. So I flew my dad here. I called my mom. I called my sister. I called my dad and said, "Oh, a week or 2 weeks."
Somebody else.
Yes, and my dad came. We haven't seen my dad in a while, so it was great actually. He came. He spent a month with us, and he took the kids to school. He watched my little one every day, and he did great. So it was the best thing I got out of this in my personal life was like I had to bring someone, and it was my dad, and it was great.
Oh, that's so nice. So it ended up working out. Oh, that makes me happy.
It was great. I mean, he wouldn't come out of the blue like this. I told him like 1 week in advance, so you're available, come. And then they got the tickets and came.
Oh my gosh. I know, because it's so stressful with the kids, their schedules, life. I mean, just getting them to school is a nightmare in itself.
Yeah.
So
wake up way early than you need usually. So leave everything ready, backpack ready, everything ready. And there was one other juror, I think her son was graduating middle school, I think. They had a little ceremony, and then she was missing because she was there. And I was like, I was feeling sad because I was missing my last day of kindergarten of my twins. And she was missing the middle school graduation celebration. We are talking about this.
Yes.
But we all, understood the task and we had to be there.
The sacrifice you guys make as moms too. It's wild. I was at my child's middle school graduation on closing argument day, and I put AirPods in. And I was like, I can't miss this. I'm so invested. So I had the AirPods in, and then I took pictures with her. And of course, I mean, she's in 8th grade, my middle one. So she was like, "See you later, mom." And my mom was actually retiring from being a teacher, and she hopped in the car. They had a half day. She hopped in the car. She's like, "Let's go to Boston. Let's go see this for ourselves." So it's so funny. We're all doing the same thing, but you guys have no idea that we're all there backing you up.
No, yeah. We just saw the pictures after. That's what we got.
That's so funny. So when you guys were actually in the courtroom, were you allowed to bring like water with you? And was it like uncomfortable? Like, what if you had to go to the bathroom? Were you guys kind of like, I'm afraid to ask to go use the restroom, or even like allergies were crazy, like to cough, or if you have like a coughing fit or sneezing, like did all of these little things happen in the courtroom throughout the day?
Yeah, we had, we could bring water and coffee. I used to have coffee. Some people bring energetic drinks, and we just need to have a lid on it. So no mask and coffee, water, whatever with lid. And bathroom was a problem because if you want to go to the bathroom, you have to ask permission, and then they have to stop the whole session to take everybody out so you go to the bathroom. Yeah. There was one time that I had to ask because usually the session would finish at 3:45, something like that, and it was like 3:30, and they continue talking. One more sidebar. Oh my God, I can't handle anymore. And then like they had a sidebar, and then I called the officers like, "Can I go to the bathroom while they are in the sidebar?" And then, "No, we are going to wrap up then." So I waited more a little bit, and they end the day so I could go to the bathroom.
Oh, you're like,
so that was an issue. It happens to me and another lady, she felt sick too. We needed to wrap it up and leave. And I read on the news that that day we saw some some upsetting pictures, I think, or I don't remember exactly. But there was a day we saw some very upsetting pictures or images or videos. I don't know. Oh, the stomach about the hypertension.
Yes.
Yeah. And one of the ladies, one of the jurors, she felt sick and had not to do with the picture. She just felt sick. She was not feeling well during the day. And then she asked to go to the bathroom. And we all laughed. And then she got better and we came back. And then I saw the news like, oh, that was so disgusting. She couldn't see the picture. You guys shouldn't show that. And she was just feeling sick like any other human being could.
Yes, you're like, it's the rumor mill. Or you could say it was the lunch. They gave us time. I'm teasing.
Definitely could throw that.
That's so funny. So I remember towards the end of the trial, Bev was like, you guys were not in the room, but she was like, the jurors are getting fed up. We need to get this going. Did you hear about this afterwards?
No.
Oh, so there were, oh my gosh, there was a few days that she made it very vocal when you guys were not in the room. And she was kind of blaming the defense, but they were not the ones delaying everything. It was actually Hank Brennan I felt like he was crossing the defense's witnesses longer than the defense was actually questioning their witnesses. That's what was taking so long. But you guys were all out of the room. The jury was not in. And she said, the jury is getting very mad about this. They're fed up. We've got to get this going. She even said something along the lines of, on Thursday, I should have never given you Thursday off, the day that it was going to be hot. And everyone was like, what's going on? So I'm going to ask you, when things got delayed in court, were you guys annoyed? And what would you guys do when this was happening? Would they just like have you in a holding room, or like, what would you guys be talking about?
Like family making jokes, playing games. We had puzzles. 3 jurors got very, very into the puzzles, and they make like 1,000 pieces puzzle on the breaks.
Oh.
We just chat about it. I didn't know she was. She had this speech and thought that we were upset. Of course, some of us were like, "Wow, this is never gonna end. Come on, we've been too long." Most of the jurors, they have their jobs and their careers, and they want to, continue going up with life. Other judges has trips, schedule, vacation. So we're all wondering when it's gonna end, of course. But I didn't see anybody like voicing firmly, this has to end, it's over. It was just more like regular questions we had. When's it gonna end? Do I have to cancel my trip? Do I have to tell my boss? Things like that. We were wondering.
Oh yeah, because we were like, oh no, are the jury really that mad? What is happening over there? Because she seemed so aggravated. She was like, they're fed up. I wish I remember what day it was, but it was definitely closer to the end. And I don't remember the exact who was on there. But what a night. We were like, oh no, the jury is done. They must be done if she's saying that.
No clue. I didn't know about this at all. Maybe someone said, because you can go to the court, to the officers, and you can ask if you have an appointment, if you want to know any extra information. You can get to them and talk to them in private. So I didn't see anybody complain so like so firmly, like you said, the judge did.
Yeah.
But I didn't, and we're not. What else are we gonna do? Like, it's not that we can change anything. We are there. We have to keep going and hope for the best.
Exactly. Exactly. You have no choice. You're stuck. So I'm going to ask you this in a funny way, because we have to rate these lawyers. Did you ever look at them like they were in the next America's Top Prosecutors? Who did it better? What did you like better between the two?
Between the two, you mean Alan Jackson and Hank Brennan?
Alan Jackson and Hank Brennan. Or, I mean, any of them. Alessi, Lally.
No.
Who did you vibe with the best?
Definitely not Lally. He didn't talk much, and he seemed so upset the whole time, just looking down. And I don't know.
Wait, did you ever see him playing with paper clips? There was a video. Oh no!
And doodling too. That's when I felt like the witness probably is not that important to them.
Emotion. Does she
But Hank Brandon, he used to like be drawing whatever something, but pay attention, and then he would stop right away and then stand up, objection. But his hand was doing something, but he was attentive.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Lali, the clip.
Oh God.
My favorite, I already said that. My favorite was Mr. Alessi. I like Alan Jackson because he has this very loud voice and this theatrical presentation of things. And that's wake us up. That's make us excited to see what's going to come next. But I personally like Bobby Aless more. It felt like he's like taking the life of the witness without like hurting or something. The way he posed the questions so politely and friend and kind, and he did a lot of the technical witnesses, and for some people probably was boring to follow all the things, but I enjoyed to see him working. And at the beginning of the trial too, I like Hanky Brennan's style. I think he was doing a good job with whatever he had for the case. I even ask myself, it would be nice to see him and maybe Alan Jackson working together in another case, in another life. I don't know.
Yes.
But towards the end, he was a little more aggressive than needed, in my opinion. It happened.
Yes, of course. Was there ever a moment in the trial, because I remember watching from home, and sometimes when they started talking about a lot of I call it the boring stuff. Sometimes it was a lot of numbers and technical stuff, and I would be watching, and sometimes Alessi was great at it, but sometimes Hank Brennan, I was like, oh no, I'm lost. I am lost. Jessica Hyde with the cell phone when she was deleting pepperonis and adding chicken and waffles. I was like, I am so confused now. Did we delete the pepperonis? Are we bringing this back? What is happening? Was there ever a point in time? Now, you said you're a Latina, so you're excited. You like to talk. Was there ever a time there that you were either so bored and confused, like what is happening? Or like laughing, like, did I hear this correctly? Like what?
Yeah, there was a lot of moments where we need to look down and hold myself not to laugh and show any facial expression, for sure. Jessica Hyde, I think she was like a teacher when she was talking or giving like the simple examples. I didn't mind her much, even though the subject was kind of technical. What's her name? Guys, I don't remember everybody's name, so forgive me.
No, that's
I got
okay.
very confused. I got very confused on the physics of ARCA.
Yes.
Witness, like right on the end, very confused now, but like I was really taking notes, the laws of Newton and this and that. I was really like, okay, let's go back to 7th grade and recap everything. And I did take those notes seriously. I understand at the end, so they did a good job. The meteorologist, the weather guy, he was also like very technical, very slow talking, but looks like one of my old teachers in college. And, and it was like, I felt respect for him. I like to listen, looking at him like, yes, I'm understanding you, sir. Continue. Yes. And then writing down. But some days were just difficult. Doesn't matter who we're talking. Some days were just, you didn't sleep well. Someone is sick. I had one of my daughters in the hospital for the whole weekend during the trial because she got a infection on her hand. And then I show up on a Monday, like just slept in the hospital. And
that's so stressful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a very practical person. Okay, so she got this thorn on her hand and got infected, and it was all over her hand. Took her to the emergency room. She had to take antibiotics and IV. And let's do it. Let's make this how do you call it? Like a girls' night out. We're gonna watch movies. We're gonna be together. We do what you gotta do. But I woke up on a Monday morning and I had to go to the court. And she was about to leave the hospital that day. That's why I went. Otherwise, I would stay with her. Yeah. So I made plans. My husband came in. I went to court. Like it was right at the end, and I want to finish. I want to continue. And she was doing much better. But that day I was dead. It was hard for me to keep it up. Like, we remember how many energetic drinks I had that day. So everybody had something going on. Someone's sick. Someone has an allergy. Someone had of course. After all, we are just people.
Yes. And that's a lot to try to even recover from exhaustion and stress of a hospital, being with your child, stressed out. And then you're up early in the morning to do a long court day and you don't even know what witness is coming. Is it going to be interesting? Is it going to be terrible? That's a lot. You're never ever going to forget this, ever.
No, it was a tough day. There was other tough days for different reasons, and we just have to go through it. Like I said, we knew we are there. There's nothing we can do about it, so we took it seriously, and we did our best for sure. Everybody were committed to be there and take the notes and pay attention. Nobody was just joking around and boring and sleeping in court.
Now, there was a rumor going around that some female jurors felt uncomfortable with Paul, the brother, and he had to move. Is that true? Or was he just being weird in general?
I don't know about this. I don't think it's true, to be honest. I've never heard any of the female jurors or the male jurors complaining about anything or mentioning the John O'Keefe family in any way. We would see people around, people that we saw every day, and wondering, what are those? Are those like family members? They're lawyers, they're attorneys, what are they? That was our question, but I never heard nobody say anything about John O'Keefe's family, not Paul, his mom, or anybody.
Okay, good. Okay, so there's lots of speculation now that this trial is over about John O'Keefe's socks. Which is, I know, I'm so glad your face is doing this, because this shows that you definitely were a good juror and you were not watching social media. So we had seen these photos where John O'Keefe has socks on in a lot of the photos where they show his legs or the clothes, and they were never in the evidence. They didn't talk about it. Did you guys ever talk about this in the deliberation room? I'm guessing this is no, but they talked about how he would always take his shoes off before entering a house. And everyone from the outside had seen all of these photos of John with his socks on, and they never ended up in the evidence with his jeans and the clothes.
True. So now that you're saying, yes.
The lawyers won't talk about
and the lawyers will not talk about it now.
Right now. It's like a hush.
I remember the pictures of him in the hospital. He had socks on, right? Both of them.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing clothes in the back, like the clothes that he was wearing, like all wrapped up, and they took it later for evidence. But nobody mentioned the socks. And honestly, I don't know if any of the jurors noticed anything, or nobody asked. We never had this discussion about the socks. Like, what?
Wow. So one of the lawyers that I think David Yannetti and Alessi were doing a few interviews, and they said they can't talk about the socks. Okay. Isn't that weird?
We didn't, and we didn't know.
That's so funny.
We had the confusion about the shoes. The shoes he presented was the right feet, and then it was just like I think just a misunderstanding. No, like conspiracy about it. Just the witnesses misunderstand the reading, the writing. We had that problem with the shirt where Hank Brenner wanted to show us the hole in the shirt, but was actually the hole made by the doctor.
What was that like for you guys? Did you understand how serious that was?
Because talk about the mistrials.
I did, but I didn't make a big deal that the internet did, now that I know, because earlier, Mr. Jackson did a similar thing with the picture. There was a picture of Buchanan and allegedly Michael Proctor in the autopsy room.
Yes.
And then they have, like, was shown to us, like, if it was Michael Proctor and Buchanan. But then when we went to the break, when you come back, and they need to clarify that wasn't Michael Proctor in the autopsy room. So, like, was brought out by the defense, and then they have to tell us that wasn't Michael Proctor. So the same thing with the shirts. He brought up, here's a hole, and then need to tell us that what.
So it was just kind of like 1 for 1 here. They did it.
But the
To me
sheriff-
personally, I expected that lawyers are going to try to throw everything in there, even if they can't. It's just my
Yes.
training tells me that, you know, you can't bring
Yes.
this up. You can't bring the shoe, the socks. But eventually, I'm gonna just throw a comment in there that the jurors are gonna be curious about it and gonna look on evidence to see if he can find about something, you know. So I know they are trained to do that, and it happens in other trials I've seen before. So it wasn't like so shocking to me, but maybe for
Yeah.
other jurors it was like a bad decision.
Yeah. What were your conversations with the jury like about Chloe or where Chloe is, the dog?
Chloe was brought up a few times, like early in the trial, not towards the end. So, I mean, the end, we saw the defense witness, Dr. Russell, talking about her and La Posada too. But from the beginning, we were wondering where Chloe is, why Chloe is important. I was wondering, and there was like some questions for us, not like talking about the case, but it's like, did you hear about the dog? Yeah, what dog? And it's like, we don't know. And then we move on because we can't talk about the case. I'm not saying like exactly words that were said in the jury room.
No, it's okay. I know.
It's just like my recollection, the things I
Yes.
remember. You know, we would have like those, wow, this was weird, but that's it. We can't discuss the case. And then at the end, I want to learn more about Chloe. I want to know what happened. Why they didn't check her DNA? Why she left the house? Why they gave the house away? Why they sold the house so fast?
Yes.
I mean, I
know.
have questions about Chloe, but because she wasn't she wasn't in the evidence. Like the only thing we had about her was Dr. Russell testimony, like when she analyzed the bites and everything, what she understood to be a bite. We didn't talk. There was nothing for us to combine her testimony with the evidence in front of us besides the picture of his arm. So it wasn't something we took in consideration and deliberation.
Did you guys talk about, was everyone on the same page that they understood the FBI was involved?
Yes, that's yes. I think was one of the first things we said on Friday, because Friday, when we started deliberation, was the end of the day. Everybody was just super excited to talk about it because first time we can't open our mouth about it. It was very confusing. Everybody talking. We didn't have a plan how to start over. But that was something that I mentioned. I think I was the first one who mentioned, and I said, everybody knows that the agency is the FBI, right? And then everybody, yeah, we all know. Because that was, for me, it was clear since Jen McCabe. She mentioned this entity, this agency who came and talked to her. So for me, I put notes on my notebook, FBI question mark, and for me it was clear there.
I love it. Oh, that's good. Because I saw an interview with Turtle Boy with the jury from the first trial, and she said she missed it. She didn't realize that the FBI was involved. So I'm so glad that you made that clear. We were wondering that while the trial was going on.
Yeah, this is something, for example, that Alan Jackson brought a lot. He was like, sometimes he would just ask the questions for us to pick it up. Is that an entity? Is an agency hired by the defense? Is an insurance company? And then it's like, we're going to eliminate it. So if we didn't get it now. But you see, it's something that he can't talk about it, but he did kind of talk about it. And I don't know if people learned there, but I knew before.
Oh, good.
Smart.
Now, when you took your field trip to the crime scene, what were your thoughts when you initially saw how close the flagpole was to the road and like the bedroom windows in comparison to where they found John O'Keefe? Like, did you think it was going to be bigger, like from photos, or were you shocked to see kind of how close everything was?
The day, I think that was like second week or third week, was very early for us to do that visit. So we didn't have a lot of information about the case to make assumptions and have questions of our own. The only, I marked the flagpole. I think I count some feet or something, but we didn't have our notebook, so we need to get back there and note whatever we could remember. I measured the
Notebooks?
No, we just go there to see it. And we have to be close all the time. You can't wander much. Alan Jackson told us, pay attention the distance from the street to the window. Okay, he pointed us, and also pay attention on the garage door. He said specifically those two things for us to point out. I wanted to measure the height of the Lexus compared to me, where it would hit me, and to find out, like, someone gonna say how high he was. And we didn't know much what to look for over there. It was just like the lawyer's direction, all of the directions for us to then make sense of it later.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Oh, I gotta verify this. TikTok is being weird. Okay. That's crazy because I didn't think about that. You guys wouldn't know. And they didn't really show you too many photos before that, right?
No, we had maybe we already had the picture. We have seen the arm picture at that point, but there's no I don't think we knew, for example, that the owner of the house didn't came out. So why he was pointing at the window made sense later.
Yes.
We didn't have a lot of information to make sense of everything they were showing us. I benefit from going there to, picture how things could have happened. To picture the street, how wide was the street, because then it made sense to me when the driver, the plot driver was going through, so the directions he would take. So having that field trip was important more towards the end, where I could connect dots.
Yep. Now, did you guys even pay attention that there was a rock there? I'm sure you've been asked this a million times. I didn't catch your answer on these, but I remember it being a big social media frenzy that there was this rock there. And I'm thinking, I don't remember seeing that in trial 1, but was that even something you guys were really paying attention to?
Of course, because, they drop us off there and then he has injury in his head and then we see a rock. So first thing you think is a rock, right? It, of course, was something that crossed probably everybody's mind.
Yeah.
But the judge advised us and said that rock wasn't there on the day of the incident. So do not consider the rock. So the next question is, why this rock is over there then? Because the house was sold and it says Albert is in it and it has some drawing like kids did something. And we just talked about this. My last interview was with Larry Foreman.
Yes.
Love him.
Yeah, and then he gave me the theory why that rock was there, but we didn't understand why. But we knew we shouldn't count on that, and we didn't.
So, since you were at the house, did you guys ever wonder? I mean, specifically in deliberations when you guys could talk, they bring you to this house. They never called up the house owners, all of these people that were at this party. Was that something you guys talked about? Like, who are they? Why didn't they call them? Was that a big deal for all of you, or how did you feel about that?
I think most of us want to hear from them. I personally didn't care much about Michael Proctor coming in because I understood through the trial that he was already fired. And a lot of people talk about his work and brought his text messages and everything. So I didn't miss him much. But I wish we heard the Albert family and maybe people who were in the party. I know during the deliberation, we talk about this. Wow, they never came in. Why is that? But it's not something that we are focused on because it's not part of the evidence. We need to just keep going with the deliberation. It's the same situation with the dog. Like, we would voice or questions or personal questions, but that would something we have to put aside and just pay attention on what we have in front of us, and based on that, make a decision.
I'm so glad that you said that, because there were so many nights that we would be live on here and we're going, I wonder what's going through the jury's minds right now. And even when we were waiting for the verdict to come in, when you were all deliberating, we're like, do we think that they're sticking with all the evidence and focusing in on reasonable doubt, or are they lost in the confusion of we didn't hear from this one, we didn't hear from this one, who are they? So I'm so glad to hear that you guys were really focusing in on the evidence, and that's what made this easier. Because I think
a lot of people. Go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'd rather hear from you.
Yeah, a lot of people are mad at me because I'm the person who's been talking a lot ever since the trial. they're mad that, oh, you didn't pay attention to all the evidence. You didn't see this. No, we saw everything. And there was, let's put it like this, there was a lot of evidence against Carrie Reed, but 99% of that evidence were inconsistent. You understand? So when people say, oh, there's a lot of things that are against her, the tail light, the time, this and that. Yes, but those things didn't match with the injury, didn't match with the time. People were mad about the clock. There was a variation on the clock. It's not like a specific time that his phone stopped at 12:32 something. And we had like 10 seconds where the car did the backup. Wasn't like one time only. So the car back up in a space of 10 seconds that nobody actually know what it is. And people don't get that. Like we saw it. We had the paper in front of us. We have all the calculations they did, the professionals, the experts. There was this gap. So even though there was a lot of things pointing to her, especially her own testimony. Did I hit him in interviews and everything? Did I hit him? All those things we took in consideration. But there, in front of us, things didn't add up, didn't make a full circle for us to convict her. If she's responsible, I don't know, we probably would never know. But the fact is, in front of us, there wasn't enough evidence to convict her to murder him.
Yes, I agree with you 100% on that.
I personally, me, Paula, like a lady who just liked true crime, do I think she hit him? No, I don't, personally. Who cares what I think? What matters is like inside that room, 12 people saw everything together and they took hours talking about it. And we all agree that wasn't enough to convict her. Get over it, people.
So, they assign a foreman, right, for this, since we're going to talk about deliberations. But I used to joke on here and say, and I'm serious because I'm so like loud and upfront. And I'm like, God, if I was ever on a jury, I think I would go into the room and be like, guys, this is what I think. Like someone take control on top of the foreman, right? Because there's so many different personalities. Did all of you have in the deliberating jurors, did all of you have strong personalities or were there some quiet ones? How did you guys I know I've listened to some of your other interviews where you said almost everyone kind of had a job. So how did all of that pan out?
Yeah, I am outspoken too, but I am very self-conscious of my accent. And I think sometimes I have a hard time to be clear enough. And I like to draw or write things down and then I make people understand me. So there was a moment that I wrote what I was thinking very specifically because I think they didn't understand me well. But not because they weren't paying attention or didn't give me time to talk. It's just because it's overwhelming. And then more overwhelming it gets, more time we are there, it gets more confusing. Then my accent go up and down for sure. And I understand people not getting me. My son sometimes don't get it. It's fine. But we all had time to talk. We were very different people, but very respectful people. It's different backgrounds, different beliefs, different faiths, different everything, life stories. But we are very respectful, and we made sure that everybody had the same and everybody were on board with the decision. We have whoever has a better handwriting. So you write on the board. Whoever wanna be in charge of taking the evidence as we watch a video. So let's take the evidence to compare with the video. So someone's gonna be taking things from the box. Someone is better with the computer. So someone's gonna be putting the CDs in and out. That was what we have. There were some people who maybe talk 20% less than others, but that was it. Everybody had the same. Everybody talked.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you guys kind of immediately go through the charges once you had, everyone had their job? Once you were organized, I should say, did you kind of go through with, do we think she's guilty or not guilty on this one, and kind of go down the list to kind of figure out where you needed to have more conversations about certain things?
Yeah, we want to go. We wanted to check our notes witness by witness to see what one have and the other one have if we're missing something. But then we noticed that it would take too long to go through everyone. So we decided to let's check the charges, and we're gonna talk about each charge and then get with witnesses talk about this and what we have and tangible evidence in front of us and put all together to see. So we wrote down the charges and in a huge paper, put on the wall so we could remind ourselves all the time to look at and what we're talking about. The judge gave us a very thick instruction too. So whatever we didn't understand or have a question about something, but we're going to read the instructions over and over again. And we have a person who reads really well and loud, so she would read everything again, 1, 2 papers, doesn't matter. Because it can get complicated. It can get it's a lot of details and information that we can't miss.
Wow, that's amazing. I love hearing about this because you always wonder from the outside in what's going through your minds. How are you guys figuring out what's correct to try to charge or not charge someone? So this is amazing. It sounds like amazing what you guys did in there.
Yeah.
We had I was lucky to be in a decent group of people, like people who were, like I said, respectful. I can't emphasize that enough. They were really respectful. Even when we disagree, we would hear everybody out. And the system, the foreman, he was like, everybody's talking one another, not just because we are talking. And he would say, guys, now it's someone else's turn. Let's calm down. So he has this demeanor, like I call him teacher. Okay, teacher, I'm sorry. And then he would stop and listen to him. He was incredible, like great foreman.
Oh, I love it. So this particular day of trial, I have to ask you about this because we were laughing at home in my chat here when Yuri Buchanek had to read, I call him B. Higgs, Brian Higgins, cringy text messages to Karen. Were you guys sitting there wanting to laugh, roll your eyes? What was going through your head? Were you like looking around like, somebody save me? This is bad.
Yes, again, that's one of the moments that we just would look to each other as we are back in the juror room without saying anything, and we all know what each other was saying. Wow, really? That's it. Let's go back for lunch. Was tense, was like uncomfortable to me to go through all the text messages. Very uncomfortable. Very.
Yes.
I mean, it's hard. I don't want to judge people, but felt so like immature, those text messages, the way they're talking to each other. One thing I learned from this is like, don't fight over text messages and be straightforward. Just say what you want. I'm the person who's going to send my husband pages of text messages when I'm angry. And I stop that. It's going to get me in trouble eventually.
Yes.
So I learned a lot of things about this. Now I have like private mode on my phone when I want to search something. I'm learning. I learned it. Things I wasn't aware of. Like, wow.
I know. Now, online, I feel like there was a harsh divide on Court TV specifically of Karen's voicemails to John. Now, myself personally, I didn't think that they made her look like she could have done this. It sounded like she was mad at her boyfriend and she was aggressively calling him angry. I mean, I've been with my husband for 20 years. So for me, I'm thinking in my head,
That's what we do.
I think I'm very passionate. I get very mad sometimes. I could see myself crazy. And then you hear like some concern, like, oh, like nervous, whatever. Her demeanor changed. Was that something you guys even thought about in deliberating? Was that even because Court TV was like, they just won the case, the Commonwealth just won the case with these messages?
No.
So that wasn't even something you guys put on the table. I love it.
Not at all. Because I mentioned that in deliberation was a comment I made when we are addressing the text messages. Like, is that enough for her to want to go back and kill the guy? And
Yes.
some people mentioned my wife would do that for sure. And then and I said, guys, I don't even drink, and I can do the same thing or worse without alcohol. Imagine with alcohol. Come on,
Yes.
it's just human reaction of a passionate woman with an angry at a boyfriend. Come on,
I love
wasn't a
it.
big deal. A lot of things you guys are saying was a big deal, where it's like, oh, she cheated on him with the Brian Higgins and stuff. And what? That doesn't make her a murderer,
Exactly.
If
Exactly.
you don't want to be her best friends, okay, fine. But we needed to pay attention here on the murder case. It's not on her moral
Yes.
judgment of things.
I love it. Now, when you went home at the end of the day after a long day of jury duty, was it hard for you to keep the TV off and kind of get away? Or were you so like overstimulated and exhausted and just wanted to be with your family that it was easy for you to just turn everything off?
No, I don't watch TV. That's the thing. The reason why I was picked for being juror is because I don't watch local news. My day is like this. I put my kids to school. If I have some work to do, I do in the morning. I put my podcast on while I'm washing dishes and doing laundry, and that's it. If my TV is on, it's Netflix. It's Miss Rachel, and that's it. So I really don't watch local news. I didn't miss the news at all. And now I want to watch. I want to see what's going on here. I already learned a bunch of cases around my neighborhood. It's like, wow.
Yeah. What I know, right? You're like, what's actually
I'm
happening?
so like,
over here?
I just listen crimes in Brazil because I want to see what's going on there. And true crime Brazil. We have good stuff here, like in my corner.
Now, did you realize that Alessi had asked for 2 mistrials during Karen's trial? And what do you think about this now, knowing that he did?
I learned that he did after the mistrial. I think one of them was the day of the shirt. I don't remember the other one.
I forget what the other one was.
I don't think the judge would give a mistrial anyway. We're already too far. They had to try. They did. And move on.
Did she appear a little bit biased to you guys, like especially with the Commonwealth, with the objections, sustains? I mean, we could play a game with the amount that was happening.
49 objections and 49
It
sustains.
seemed very obvious watching it through the TV, but you're in the courtroom. I'm sure it's exhausting sometimes. Were you guys catching on to that, or?
I did, but just towards the end with the defense, let's say last week, defense witnesses, I did felt like it was hard to follow the defense witnesses, the questions, the direct questions, because was way too many objections from the Commonwealth. And the opposite would happen when Alan Jackson would object to something, I will allow. So I noticed this with Dr. Rosso, for example, Dr. Laposata, there was more intense. However, I do understand that there are things that they can't talk about that can bring up in trial because it was not admitted, because the Commonwealth didn't open the door, whatever is the reason. So I wouldn't make a big deal of this because I understand the system. I don't know the other jurors what they thought about it, but there was difficult some witnesses towards the end.
Now, were there any moments during the trial that hit you hard or that have stuck with you?
Volcanic testimony. This was long, 3 days. And I was very close to him. And I felt sometimes that he would jump out of the stand over someone because he was clearly uncomfortable and sometimes very angry. And that tension over there, it bothers me to the point like I need to take a deep breath, do like this because it was really interfering in my energy kind of thing.
Wow.
So that stood out to me. And then I learned that he was there the day of the closing, I think, or the day of the verdict. I don't know. I didn't see him. I don't think any of the jurors did, but I would be a little concerned if I saw him there on that day.
That would have scared you?
Wouldn't change my verdict. Of course, that was my responsibility, but I would feel a little more unsafe.
Wow.
But he was very, very, very tense.
Wow. Was there any particular piece of evidence that you wish you could have heard more about?
The dog. I wish they talk about the dog before, like that Hank Brennan would bring it up the dog. Oh, because last trial the dog came up, and now we're gonna bring an expert saying that it's not a dog. Here's the DNA, it's not a dog. I wish they brought that before, but we just heard about the dog with the Dr. Russell at the end.
So that was kind of confusing then, I would say. Like, what is up with this dog, right? Like, you're bringing up a witness, but we don't know too much, right?
Much about the dog.
It was weird.
No. Yeah. And now I know the dog was rehomed and all those things that were up in the first trial. Now I know everything, but we didn't have this information.
Would you ever want to serve on a jury again after this?
Look, before the trial end, I would say yes. Now that the trial end and the aftermath, and I talk too much, maybe I would say no, because things are little no, it's overwhelmed a lot, and some people are over the line, and the accusations they're making about me and my family, and it's bringing consequences to my family already. So when I gave my first interview, like I only contact Jessica Machado. That was like the only person I intend to talk to. And she gave me a written interview. Great. Nobody's going to see my face. That was a Thursday after the trial. And I was out all day with my dad and my kids. When I got home that night, 9:30, I had 4 channels at me.
They found your address?
Yes. They have access to an app or something that they have all the information of everybody. So I had 4 channels here. People say like, oh, you talk too much, you gave too many interviews. It was just in one day because a lot of them just show up in here. And the next day I had 3 more showing up here and I wasn't even home.
Wow.
And then what do? I'm going to joke about I'm just a mom. What do? You get home. You are all sweaty after summer day in the park with your kids, and you have these people coming after you. And can you please talk to us just a little bit? It's going to go on tonight, and we have just 30 minutes to finish and blah, blah. I'm sorry, I couldn't say no. I was like, they're working. And I understand that people want to know about the case. I would like to know about the case if I was watching this whole time. So, okay, I talked to them, 3. And then they left. And then another one came even later, like after 10 p.m. And then, okay.
What?
And then I came back. I said, guys, please, I'm just going to go put my kids in bed because we were very super late. And then I came back. Okay, so what do you want? Oh, it's going to go tomorrow morning. And that was the Today show. Can we come back tomorrow morning? Blah, blah, blah. And he was a sweetheart, very convincing, the producer. And then, okay, so come back tomorrow morning. I'll give you the interview tomorrow morning. Today, the channel. I don't watch TV. I don't even know who these people are. What shows I'm going to. I really don't know. Oh. It's shocking, but I don't. Now I know.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I talked in the morning, and it was a Friday. I said, okay, I'm gonna give this date to the press. People want to know, and I made plans to talk to Sue O'Connell, and I went there to the TV station. It was great, very light conversation. The way it was set up. And then I'm coming home. I have 2 more journalists in my house, and so can we do that very quickly? Blah 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 blah. It's okay.
That's crazy.
Okay, let's do it. Like, it's not that I'm not seeking for attention. The attention came to me, and I felt bad to turn over people. They are working. I understand their jobs. My dad worked in television for years in Brazil. I was a receptionist in this television for years too. I know how people work. I know how difficult it is. My cousins are journalists. Okay, so like I felt for the people who are waiting for me. And I'm not that. Yeah, I'm not that important, but that's what they got. Nobody else is saying anything. So, okay, guys, let me give it to you. And that's why I show off so much, all in one day.
Wow. That's a lot. And I wasn't even going to ask you about Jen McCabe, but now that you mentioned the normal mom, was that a bizarre testimony for you guys to hear? Well, I don't want to say lie, but she pretended she was her sister and then referred to the FBI truck. I mean, the FBI as like the ice cream truck going around the neighborhood. Was that bizarre for you guys?
Yeah, she was right in the beginning. So, and none of us knew like her reputation or how involved in the crime. She involved in a crime. No, how like how she was so famous for being Jane McCabe. Let's put it.
Yes.
we didn't know anything about her. So I heard her like a normal mom for real, like a lady from the neighborhood. We're friends with him, just like I heard Carrie Roberts the same way. Wow, like just family, could be our neighbors, could be a family member, you know, they are all involved in this situation. I heard Jane McCabe with my open heart for real, like from woman to woman, mother to mother. I'm so sorry you're involved in this whole thing. But they brought out this lie about the ice cream truck and the weird. And there was something else that caught me was she felt very cold, like the way she was presenting herself and looking at us all the time, trying to felt like she was trying to convince us of something. Like the lawyer didn't look at us like that. So that made me like, let me watch this witness better, not just being so friendly towards her. But it wasn't the beginning, and I didn't have any like set opinion about her at all. And just the mom thing, it became a thing for me because of the Twitter account. Like I start tweeting or texting, whatever, about this, and people were trolling me from A to Z, and I just start saying, guys, I'm just a mom.
Your responses to the trolls are the best things I have ever seen in my life. You hold yourself so well, and you are so funny. And the moment I saw that, I started reading all your things, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to meet her. She is hilarious. Meanwhile, I got ripped apart on the internet for Nick Barrow's interview. And even the free Karen Reed people were angry with me. And I'm like, I wanted to be exactly like you in that moment. I'm like, I needed to think better and faster and just throw these things out because you were hysterical. You are hysterical. I mean, people are crazy. And I think you have handled this so beyond well. And I think that's the best way to handle it, because what can they say? What can they say now?
And because it's an absurd. And I learned that a lot of people don't understand sarcasm. Some things I say get totally out of context and become something. You see, she's making money off someone's death. She said that. Like, it's so clear. It's a sarcasm. It's an absurd what I'm typing there. Yeah. Like, how can you can't grasp that?
No.
It's like they're making fun of ridiculous things. The beginning was about my body, my accent, my nationality, my legal or not legal degree. You call me dumb, but then you think I'm a mastermind behind an FBI conspiracy. You convinced 11 other Americans about this not guilty Karen Reed. Like, what's Brazilian spy? And wow. What a sense of importance these people have, like, and thank you. You think I'm that important to you, and that's smart. At the same time, I'm dumb, hard to follow, and they don't know sarcasm at all. There's no other way for me to answer. I'm not gonna try to give facts. Some answers, I try to tell the person, look, that was my thinking, my process. We saw this, and that, and they're gonna come up and say, oh, you didn't see this right. Okay, so you were there, I wasn't. So you told me the right way, you know. There's no way I'm going to be arguing with these people. So I just make fun of me. I make fun of myself. I repost all the memes they made of me. Really, give me more. I want to sell them.
You have so many fans in the comments here. They're like, we love Paula. She's great. There's a million more that love you than these ridiculous people. So that's the best part about this. You have so many more people that are in your corner outside of a few very angry trolls for whatever reason.
I'm very grateful for those people. They help me to keep it up, the good spirit.
Yes. Now, going into this trial, I want to know what your thoughts are about the faith in the justice system and how have they changed now that the trial's over?
I don't think the justice system is something that I have base to criticize. That was my first experience as a juror or like looking closely to the system. It's different than Brazil. I think it works here, this juror thing. It's a nice thing. We represent the society, and I think that's very important. But I was surprised with the police investigation because just think with me, I live here for 12 years. I used to live in California before. I'm in Massachusetts for a year and a half. Still, I have this very foreign mentality where everything is great in America. Everything is awesome. That's what I watch Hollywood movies watching. nice cop in a small town who protects everybody and help the kids cross the street. That's all we had in mind. And I know Canton is a small town, and where I live, like everybody has their own communities. I was surprised to see that a case that big could happen in a small town like this. Like I would expect in Boston, in big cities, and you're gonna find more flaws, but it happened here in the neighborhood next to us, and gave me this impression that every county has its problems. Mine have thousands, and I love living here because I believe from my life I have less problems in here, but still. It is not perfect, and it never will be. And I'm like, I used to joke in jury that I want to sell this story to Brazil. Like I'm always saying selling, but I'm not selling anything. But because I watched true crime in Brazil, I wanted to tell the stories to the podcasters I listen over there, because we had this mentality that everything is great in here. The prison system is amazing. Look how many people they have in there. But it's exactly the opposite. They shouldn't have that many people there. And the justice work in America, not in Brazil. We have this complex. No, sometimes here things go downhill too. So that it took me this out of my bubble of perfection, like most of us foreigners have. And it's good to be aware, since I live here now. I have 4 kids that are being raised here. I have to break the bubble, and I have to watch more news and know what's going on here.
Yes, I love that perspective. My dad was born in Greece. And our entire family, aside from his siblings and parents, are basically in Greece, and they feel the same way. America is amazing. America is great. Things don't happen like what we've seen. So it's so funny hearing your perspective on that, because now you're living it and trying to raise your own kids this way. So now like not everything is perfect here.
No, it's not. And it's not a direct criticism to the police. I do think that specifically in this investigation, there was missing pieces. I'm sorry, because whatever reason, too many missing pieces. Yes. But it's like I've lost my thought. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It's getting late, and I feel bad. I have one last question for you.
Go ahead.
And this should be an easy one for you. What advice do you have for anyone who ends up becoming a juror in a high-profile case?
Bring your own lunch.
I knew I was going to love you.
No, just really listen to the judge instructions. Don't get in social media. I have like the app on my phone, but I haven't posted anything on Instagram for over a year. And then I posted a picture during trial, and that was it. When I went in and I saw too many news coming on my feed, I was like, opa, let me take it off. And I just turned off everything. Don't get influenced by a third person. Stand for your beliefs and what you saw, because you were there with everybody else. And you have the same right and you had the same opportunity like everybody to make your own perception and make your voice being heard. Because the most important for a jury is leaving that room with the heart, with light heart. We did not leave the room with light heart because we felt bad for John O'Keefe. Not because we think we did the wrong thing with Karen Reed. Most of us were already, was easy for most of us making the decision of not guilty based on the evidence we have. We had to talk through with people who were thinking differently. Of course, we did talk through. But we had this heavy heart for the family and for John O'Keefe, for sure. It wasn't just me. I cried in court, and when I got in the room, I lifted my head, and there was like 4 other ladies crying too. And the guys were just looking down. Nobody liked that situation. We didn't like to be there. We didn't ask to be there. So make sure, if you can't make everyone happy, and you won't, just make sure in your heart you do the right thing. You were heard, and prepare yourself for the aftermath if you want to speak out.
Yes. Paula, you are an amazing human. I knew I was going to love every second of this, but when I tell you, this was such an amazing conversation with you. You bring an energy and a light to, I'm going to speak for this entire Sunglass crew. the vibe you brought here tonight, the inside, you are so smart. I am so proud. There was a point watching this trial that I was ashamed to be a part of Massachusetts. And now after this, I am so proud that someone like you was on the jury, that you were so open-minded and that you were so serious about your job and that you're just an amazing human. And I am just so thankful that you even came over to a small creator's little TikTok to give us this insight. And I just appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for this.
No, thank you for having me, for inviting me. I'm sorry it took so long to answer you, and it's just like been crazy. I'm still catching up with all the emails I received, and it was great to be here. Now I know how to do lives on TikTok. I might open my own channel or whatever.
I feel like now you should reach out to everyone in Brazil and be like, come to my TikTok live, meaning you, and make the connections. They are going to be mind blown.
I want to show you guys the case we hear over there. I'm going to come and bring like Brazilian cases, true crime.
Yes, I would love it. And we'll all repost for you.
Thank you. Now I know how this thing works. I'll be around.
Yes. Anytime you want to pop up, you're welcome over here. I love it.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
So much. It was so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. And thank you everybody who are watching. And I'm reading some of the messages here. You guys are very sweet. Thank you so much.
Oh, we love you.
Thank you.
Have a
Bye,
good
guys.
night, my friend.
You too.
That was awesome.
Guys, what do we think about how amazing